Well, hello there everyone, it is Maria Young here and welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me in my tropical garden right here at my orchid adventures. And for all of my keiki lovers that believe in the more the merrier when it comes to our orchids, well today I'm going to be showing you my top keiki producers in my collection. But first, can we get a round of applause for this snowy white beauty right here that has already come into bloom? And if you take a look right there, it still has a sheath yet to go. So yay for this beautiful gal, and thank you for beautifying our world today. Okay, so the first orchid that we're going to be showcasing right here is this Dendrobium linguala. And as you can see, it has a very long cascading cane and almost appears to be somewhat vine-like in nature. And throughout these very long cascading canes, you will find these little keikis that will begin to emerge off of the canes. And right now I have about 8 keikis on here left. I've actually already propagated some from here and I'm just waiting for these to get at a good size. And unfortunately, I did lose a good portion of these 3 canes right here. These canes were actually at a good 6 feet long at a point of time. But I did do something very ignorant, guys. I tried to take the vines and trail them up on that stick right there. But as you can see, the shade cloth is very dark and it got too hot and it literally baked not only the very long canes, but also the keikis that were attached. So unfortunately, guys, I did lose a good 15 or more keikis. Yikes. But good news, folks, I was able to propagate these little cute, adorable keikis right here. And there are 6 keikis in total. So all together with the ones that were growing on the original mother plant right there, and also the keikis that we did propagate, which is right there, and we're also going to include the keikis that were on the actual canes that died back, and in total we would have had 30 plus keikis. So yes, indeed, this is quite a keiki maker. Can we get a round of applause for mass production? Because this indeed is what I would consider a baby making factory. And just to give you a little bit more information on the Dendrobium linguala, this actually will bloom sporadically throughout the year, and it blooms in a very small cluster of lavender-ish, pinkish blossoms, and the blossoms are considered mildly fragrant and very unique in its shape. A very easy to grow orchid and one that is quite a delight to have. And the next orchid that we do have on our list is a very amusing one. It is one that I still have a hard time believing that this is an orchid, but indeed it is. Look at the foliage that this thing has. It is very pine needly in quality and definitely looks like a succulent, but this is not. This is actually a dendrobium, yes, and a Dendrobium Juicy to be exact. And I did do a video featuring this very unique and unusual orchid, so if you definitely want to get some more details on it, you can go ahead and click on the upper right hand side. See that link? Well, click it and it'll take you directly to that video. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the foliage, because if we do, we will notice within the mass of foliage there are also a mass of little roots. And those little roots are indicators that we do have keikis growing amongst us. Dun-dun-dun-dun. And these actual little keikis will grow off of these cascading stems. As you can see right here, those are the keikis. And what'll happen is the foliage will actually fall off, and in replacement of that foliage, there will come in these little baby keikis. So alongside of all of these little roots that you do see are growing also little keikis. And they do get lost within the foliage and the stem area, so it is a little bit harder to see them, but they are there. And I would say a good 20 are growing on here. So yes, this is quite a baby maker as well. And just to give you a little bit more information about the Dendrobium Juicy, this does bloom in a very small lime green blossom, and the blossoms look a little bit like the Kingianum. I mean, nothing to write home about, but the actual attraction, the actual appeal to this Juicy is the foliage. That is what I love so much. And another feature that I do love so much about this right here is the fact that it is so easy to grow. And this is an orchid that actually can tolerate very drought conditions, because I've forgotten about this orchid so many times in the past, and it just keeps kicking with no problem. And just in case you guys didn't notice, this is actually growing in such a teeny weeny snail shell, especially in comparison to the size of how big this actual Juicy is, and just with so many growths. And it doesn't mind that it is growing within such a small container. So again, this is not a picky grower at all, and that is what I love the most about this orchid. And here we go, guys, on to the next. And this one right here is a monster of a species, Dendrobium right here. I've featured her on several videos. I'll also post a link right there if you want more information on it. But this one right here is my monster. And unfortunately, because we had so much heavy rains, we did experience a lot of dieback on this. But fortunate for us, because this is such a hardy Dendrobium, we also experienced a lot of new growth of those basal keikis as well, as you can see. And I want to say close to 15 of them right here, guys. But not only did we experience basal keikis, we also experienced a lot of these keikis growing from the canes as well. And here's some more of them just growing throughout. I mean, just take a look. You'll see them everywhere. And these are very fast growers, because these are large enough now to be taken off and potted up. So we'll have a bunch of new plants of these. And look how long this plant actually extends out. Look at that. Look at that. Very, very long canes on this. And even up here, we're going to find some more keikis that are still growing. So throughout this plant, we have a good 25 plus keikis on here. Just a huge amount of them. So these indeed can also give you quite an amount of not only blooms, because you guys know I've shown you in the videos just how many blooms that this is littered with, countless of them, but they can also give so many keikis as well. Quite the keiki maker indeed. And just as a side note, the keikis that I do propagate normally make it to my mounting station right here. This is specifically for my dendrobiums, and you will see I do have some of the loaded Juicy Eyes already growing in there. I also have some Dendrobium nobles, and I think this is a gunray. I can't remember the name of this one, but this is a very large growing Dendrobium. And yeah, throughout I even have an osmum in here as well, right there growing. And I can't even get to the other side of this. This is like cluttered here, but I have some dendrobiums, again, growing throughout my little dendrobium station. So that's where my keikis will go. And last but never least is this particular orchid right here. This is actually my top #1 keiki producer in my entire collection. And can we just take a brief moment to appreciate the spectacular baby maker right here? This is the Dendrobium loaded Juicy Eye. And I do have to tell you that I was so impressed, not only at the amount of keikis that this orchid can give, but also for the amount of blooms that they can give as well. In this season right here, I got so many blooms. I mean, it was littered and covered with them. You could barely see the plants. That's how many blooms were on this thing. So I was so surprised. Not only did it give me so many blooms, but then it turned around and still had enough energy to give me all of these wonderful keikis. But not only that, guys, take a look at all of the new growth that has come in as well. Look at all of the basil keikis that appeared and emerged from everywhere on this plant. And I can't even begin to count how many of these basil keikis that came in. But yes, this is such a grower and bloomer and keiki maker. And the blooms on these are amazing as well. Very unique looking. The colors on this will be a pink lavender color, also intermingled with white and a very deep yellow in the center of the throat. And this is actually a furry bloomer because the flowers are a bit furry in the throat area, and it does have a very fimbriated lip as well. So a lot of gorgeousness going on with this orchid right here. And I was so caught up in describing the bloom, I even forgot to mention that they are also fragrant and also long lasting as well. And also another unique feature about this loaded Juicy Eye is the fact that they do bloom off of leafless canes. Now that's not the uniqueness about it. The uniqueness about it is the fact that these canes can actually be very small, and when they lose their little leaves on this little small cane, as you can see right here, these small canes can actually bloom as well as all of these little canes did for me. And then you can see tiny little baby keikis that are emerging from those smaller canes. So yes, even the very tiny itsy bitsy canes can bloom also. And let us take a look at all of these keikis. Do you see that? Do you see all of these keikis all throughout? I mean, even underneath right there. I mean, wow. All of these keikis. I cannot believe how much these can make. And I actually counted, I have to be honest, I actually lost count, but the last that I counted was close to 50 of these keikis. Can you believe it? So 50 keikis, not to mention all of these basil keikis up here, and I would have to say about like 25. Wowzer, folks, wowzers. Can you believe how much growth this can give off? And this particular orchid is actually considered small to medium sized type of orchid, but as you can see with the amount of growth that it can give, this can actually get quite a massive size in such a short while. So yes, this is one that is a fast growing orchid, and again can get to quite a large size. And with that being said, guys, I do have to tell you that this is my favorite baby maker of them all. This is an orchid that is so easy to grow and is so rewarding. And there you have it, folks. Those are my top keiki producers within my collection. Now, if you guys also have orchids that are tremendous keiki producers, please be sure to let me know, as I am always in the market for getting these orchids. Indeed, I do believe the more the merrier, so make sure you post those comments below. I do hope that you guys liked this video, and if you did, please be sure to like, share, and also subscribe, and turn on that bell notification button so you guys will know exactly when I do post a new video. Also, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram under My Orchid Adventures. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys on my next adventure. Bye-bye for now. Mwah.